Hello and welcome back to Wanderwalkers. Today we're going to be talking about 5 of the best day trips that you can take within about 3 hours of Sydney. We've lived in the area south of Sydney for most of our lives, so we know these areas quite well. When Kelly and I first started dating about 7 years ago, we were quite poor. We were both unemployed at the time, and we would take a lot of day trips, cheap day trips, within those areas of Sydney and surrounding areas. And this is what we used to do for our travels before we could afford to travel overseas. And this year, 2020, has been a crazy year with the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic happening. So we've been revisiting a lot of these places and even going to new places that we didn't know existed, and we've been having a lot of fun doing it, just taking more local, regional trips and just having a lot of fun while we do it.
So we thought today we would share some of these places with you guys. So if you're maybe traveling in the area, if you live interstate and you haven't been to Sydney before, or even if you have been to Sydney before, or even if internationally one day you do come to visit this area, we wanted to go through some of our favourite day trips or some of our favourite places around the area that would be great for you to visit and get a different side of Australia in each of them.
The first place we want to talk about is the Blue Mountains, and this is a very well-known place. It's a very popular tourist destination for both Sydney-siders and for international tourists and domestic travellers from other states within Australia. But it's such a great place to go because there's so much to it. Yes, there's the Three Sisters rock formation, but there's so much more to it. There's so many great cafes and art galleries and lookouts and bushwalks and waterfalls. And there's quite a lot of towns around the region that are just worth visiting and going and exploring.
Back in 2015, Dan and I actually visited the Blue Mountains together, and we stayed just outside of Katoomba in an Airbnb, and it was such a great, I think we were only away for a couple of days, but it was just such a great time and a nice place to relax. There's so many things that you can do there both in winter and in summer. In summer, it's amazing for hiking and bush trails, like Dan said. Walks are just amazing there, and the waterfalls and features of the area, mountain ranges. It's such a beautiful natural part around Sydney that's really not too far. And then there's the man-made portion, like Dan was saying as well, with the galleries, with the cafes. It's just such a beautiful area, and it's highly recommended for anyone that's kind of never been there before to definitely go and see what's on offer there and to have a really nice relaxing time there.
So the second place we want to talk about might be a controversial one, especially for Australians, but it's actually Canberra.
And we say controversial because I feel like a lot of Australians feel that Canberra is very boring. But I actually love Canberra, and I know Dan loves Canberra.
I do.
I think that we've not lived too far from there most of our lives, and we have taken numerous day trips there, a lot of school excursions, and I've always kind of found it to be quite a fascinating place. I think there's a lot to learn in Canberra. There's a lot of things that are quite interactive, and especially for kids, if you do have kids, I think it's a pretty cool place to be able to take them to.
For those who live outside of Australia, you might not know, but Canberra is our capital city. It's like the Washington DC of Australia.
Just a lot smaller.
Just a lot smaller. But yeah, like Kaylee said, there's just so much to do there. Like the Australian War Memorial is excellent to learn about Australian war history. It's just really cool. You can spend an entire day or two in there. There's so many art galleries, like I think it's the National Portrait Gallery, which is really cool. And then you have other things like Questacon, which is great for kids. I think that Canberra is really cool for restaurants and cafes and even nightlife as well. Compare that to Sydney, where the nightlife isn't so great anymore. But yes, Canberra's is definitely very exciting.
There's also the annual tulip festival there called Floriade. It's, well, not exactly a tulip festival, but they have a lot of different florals and things in bloom around that time of year. And it's really, really beautiful. I've been once before, and they also have Floriade at night, as far as I'm aware. And it's such a cool festival to go to. I highly recommend that for anyone that's interested in going to Canberra around springtime, because it's so beautiful. And the way that they do everything is just so lovely. So yeah, I'd recommend Canberra to anyone, to be honest. Anyone that's traveling to Sydney. It's probably about 2.5 to 3 hours away from Sydney, so it's something that if you were going to do a day trip, you'd probably want to leave early in the morning and then come back probably a bit later on, or stay overnight if you were able to. But yeah, we'd definitely recommend it.
The third region we want to talk about is Jervis Bay, and this is so beautiful because it's a beachy area. There's also like a really beautiful national park. It's just like a really really beautiful place to go for on the weekends or on holidays for long weekends and things like that.
So once again, it probably takes maybe around, say, 3 hours, I'd say, from Sydney to get down there. So it's probably something that you'd want to leave early for. And if you could stay overnight, that would be probably ideal. But it is such a beautiful area. But Hymes Beach is probably one of the best beaches I think we've ever been to. It is so beautiful. Apparently, it has some of the whitest sand in the world, and it is really incredible when you actually walk along Jervis Bay there at Hymes Beach. You realise how white it actually is. And just in contrast to the blue waters, there's whales that swim past every year. There's dolphins in the bay that actually live in the bay. So we've actually been whale watching there before and dolphin watching, and we've seen them doing flips and everything out of the water. It was pretty amazing. And yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful place to go and relax and to enjoy coastal life of Australians. So yeah, we'd really recommend Jervis Bay if you were going to pick any. We have a couple of beach recommendations, but we do recommend Jervis Bay if you want something that's a little bit further off track and somewhere that's really, really picturesque.
The fourth region we want to talk about is the Central Coast, and the Central Coast encompasses quite a large area, but we think places like Terrigal, the entrance in Bateau Bay is so beautiful, and it's another coastal region, so there's a lot of beautiful beaches. It's a very picturesque place. It's like lots of cafes and restaurants and bars. It's just a really picturesque place and a very relaxing place where you can take your friends, your family, your pets as well. Just have a really good time. A lot of people go there for camping trips or take their caravans up and just spend a couple of days on the weekend there.
And obviously, depending on whether it's school holidays or popular times of year, this can be not always the case, but we do feel like it probably is a little bit more quieter there than if you were to go to some of Sydney's beaches like Cronulla or Manly or Bondi. They can be very, very busy on a daily basis. So going a little bit further afield to the Central Coast or even Jervis Bay, at the right times of year, you might actually get a very quiet spot, which is nice. But I do say that with caution. School holidays are probably not the time to do this.
And finally, we want to talk about the Southern Highlands, so places like Mittagong, Bowral, Berrimah, Robertson. These places are all so beautiful. They have like a very English feel.
So there's a lot of like rolling green hills and farmland out that way, beautiful plantations, and it does have that really English British kind of feel about the way that the gardens are positioned and the way that the housing looks. Yeah, it's one of the older areas of the settlements around Sydney, and it's just very, very beautiful the way it is. There's a lot of vineyards too, so if you're interested in wine tasting and that sort of thing, it's a really beautiful place to go for food and wine.
A lot of people get married in these sorts of areas because there's so many beautiful like homesteads and wineries, like Kaylee said. There's a lot of antique stores, so that if you're really into that, that's a great place to go as well. And again, there's a lot of cafes and restaurants and just really cool places to go and see, and something we would recommend all Sydney-siders and those who are travelling to Sydney to get out of the city and head out further. Southern Highlands also has a lot of walking tracks and waterfalls, and there's even a great view of Mount Gibraltar just near Bowral. So there's quite a lot of things to do, and in spring that's just happened now, they had the Tulip Festival at Corbett Gardens, which is absolutely beautiful, and unfortunately we just missed it. We didn't get a chance to go, but I've seen photos of it all over Instagram and Facebook, and it looks incredible. So if you can get down to the Southern Highlands and any of the places that we've mentioned in this video, we highly recommend you do.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video if you liked it. And make sure to switch on the notification bell to make sure you see all the videos that we do have coming up in future. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.